Hey everyone, welcome to Where's the Gray Area Between Black Hat and White Hat SEO. My name is Erin Everhart. I am the Web and Social Media Marketing Director here at 352 Media Group, and today I want to talk to you about what is going to get you in trouble when you're trying to get those coveted #1 rankings in Google. There's been a lot of talk recently, and there's been a lot of publicized companies whose the media brought to attention, and I want to make sure that you avoid that so you certainly do not get into that area. So let's get started. First is Black Hat SEO. Now this has always been the shady SEO practices, the unethical way of making sure that you get those top spots. These people are always trying to stay one step ahead of the game, trying to stay one step ahead of Google. They recognize when things are coming and they try to beat the system. Now the problem with Black Hat SEO is that it works. And if it didn't, there wouldn't be so many people trying to do these unethical practices to get to those spots. On the other side of that, you have White Hat SEO. Now this is the good SEO. These people play by the rules. They follow Matt Cutts, who is the head of Google's web spam team and the end all and be all when it comes to how you have to get to those #1 rankings. The problem with White Hat SEO is that even though you just follow the rules, doesn't mean you can't rank for your competitive terms, but in reality it does. White Hat SEO is very difficult to make sure that you're getting those #1 rankings, and SEO doesn't happen overnight, and when you're competing against people who are using these unethical practices, it's very, very hard to want to make sure that you're doing everything by Google standards. They make it hard for a reason to get #1. They want to serve up the best results possible, and White Hat SEO is really only doing these procedures. Now, somewhere in the middle of that is the gray area, the SEO grandmaster. We want to talk about where is that gray area, where is that line that you don't want to cross to where, yes, this could be considered Black Hat SEO, or yes, this is White Hat SEO. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is sketchy links. This is the #1 way that people are going to see you as doing Black Hat SEO practices. Sketchy links is getting your links placed on websites that have unrelevant content to yours and that are essentially link farms, websites that were just built to house links. The idea here being that if you have a website with a higher page rank and a higher page authority and domain authority, if you have a link on there, then their link juice is going to transfer over to your site for that particular keyword term, and Google is going to see your site as more relevant for that keyword. You may have remembered JCPenney getting into some trouble with these unethical, sketchy links. JCPenney was recently found out by Google to have paid to have a large number of their links placed on very, very questionable sites. Now when I say questionable sites, I'm sure you're kind of wondering what exactly this means. So where you can take a look at these examples. JCPenney had gotten out and got casual dresses as one of their anchor text links on elistofbanks.com, cocktail dresses on BulgariaPropertyPortal.com, evening dresses on CasinoFocus.com. As you can tell, none of these sites have anything to do with dresses. These sites had a very, very high page authority. They had a very high page rank. This page rank was transferred over to JCPenney with their keyword terms. JCPenney shot up #1 in rankings for them. Problem is that Google found out about this, as Google will always find out. And JCPenney went from being page 1, #1 to page 70. They got docked very, very severely, and Google's going to remember that. They're going to have a very hard time bringing up their search engine rankings. Now, how you can avoid this process is making sure that your links only appear on very related sites. As 352, we are a web design company, so when we're talking to different websites and we're doing link building efforts and resources, we want to make sure that our links appear on other technology websites, web hosting companies, any blogs about web design, any blogs about web development or programming. Those are the kind of sites that we're focusing on. Another problem with sketchy links, and this has always been a very, very hot topic, is paid links. Now, white hat SEO, Google says that you should never ever pay for a link, as they're going to consider this black hat. And that's very true. Now, there is a very, very gray area in between paying for links because, as I said, with all black hat practices, it works. I would recommend, to make sure that you don't fall into that area, is to do the manual research on your own. Do your Googling as you all are. I'm sure you're great Googlers. Do that process. Look for actual sites that are going to be related to what you're offering and that would be willing and welcome to list your site because they believe it's going to be a resource for their users. All right, the second option is paid placement, which I was hinting to just before. These are actually paying for you to have your links on your site. Now, the other portion of this is using your site as an actual paid placement spot. Now, Forbes got into trouble with this recently, as they were found to have a resource section on their website that actually had paid advertising spots, where you can see here on your screenshot. Google found out about this, and they docked Forbes for actually getting paid to have their sites listed on there. Now, where you want to avoid this and how you can stay in the middle is only listing sites that you honestly feel are going to be good for your readers. You want to make sure that you're always providing a valuable resource. Also, any link that goes out of your site, Google is going to recognize that, and if you have questionable links on your site, that means that you're not going to be seen as relevant to the content that you want to provide as well. So really taking an evaluation and seeing, going through the checkpoints of, is this site ethical? Do I think that it's going to provide a value to my readers, and is it related to what I want to do? And if they pass those checkpoints, then I would welcome those links on your site. Another way that you can kind of combat that is to put any no-follow codes on their links out, and these are just a snippet of code in the back end that says no follow, and these will let Google know that they don't want you to follow this link. So in Google's eyes, it's not even going to be a link there because it's a black wall to them. They completely stop it. Okay, so the next thing where it gets a little bit of gray area is shoddy content. This is just questionable content that when you read it, it doesn't actually sound like it was ever written by a person. If it was written by a person, it was shipped overseas, or it was spammed out in an Autobot. Overstock.com recently got into some very, very shady waters with shoddy content that they were using. Basically, Overstock worked out a marketing deal with a number of universities and education sites where students would post this content from the university's domain name, and these all would be embedded links back to overstock.com. In theory, yes, this would work. However, the content that they were placing on these sites was not well written. As you can see, laptop is one of the necessary thing. They're not complete sentences. As even though we can see Google as a machine, and as they go and they spider and they crawl your website, they can pick up on stuff like this. They can pick out the difference between good content and bad content. So you want to make sure that any content that you're putting out about your site is quality content. It's actually providing a value to your users. Now, the reason why Overstock.com targeted education and universities specifically was that Google will put a higher emphasis of that link if it's coming from a .org or a .edu site. So by having a link for gift baskets and computer desks and laptop computers, they were seen as very, very valuable to that. The problem was Google caught on, they saw this content as spam, and they completely docked Overstock for their rankings. The gray area for here, and if you want to make sure that you use this going forward, is to always put out good content. Anything that's going to represent yourself or your business, you want to make sure is written by a person. The links that you would do embed there are natural and they make sense. Don't just throw a link in there because you want to get a link for gift baskets or computer desks. Make sure that actually fits with the sentence and it flows with what you're talking about. So when a person can actually click that link, they'll realize that they're getting brought there for a reason. It's certainly not just for search engines to read. All right, the last thing when it comes to black hat and white hat SEO is bad service. Customer service wins all, and even in SEO, this is a a very good process to make sure that you're continually doing, because bad people will talk about it. Now, there's an interesting concept that came up with decormyeyes.com, and this was probably about a year ago, I'd say. The owner of this Decor My Eyes, he was selling brand name sunglasses on his, or glasses and contact lenses on his website. So when people would search for that brand, his eyes would come up, or his site would come up, and they would buy from him. Now, his practice was a little questionable in that he was looking for negative content. He was giving the worst customer service possible. Consumers would then go on the review sites, getsatisfaction.com, and they would comment about how horrible his negative and about how horrible his service was, all the while providing links back to his site. The more times people posted, the more content and the more traffic this site got, the more links it went back to his site, and ultimately the more the better his SEO rankings got. You know, he even said, he went on getsatisfaction.com and left this: I just wanted to let you guys know that the more replies you people post, the more business I get and the more hits and sales I get. My goal is negative advertisement. Now, this was a completely off-the-wall topic that he went, but it actually worked for him for a little bit, again, until Google found out. Now, to avoid this is just always making sure that you provide your users with the best customer service possible. Certainly, bad experiences get talked about more than good experiences online, but if you continually provide them with a good user experience and a good service, then they're always going to come back for you, and you know, they're going to pay it forward. They're going to let people know that they could come to here. So now what? I know that was a lot of information, but if you follow these 3 principles, then you're going to be good when it comes to what exactly your SEO is going to entail. Remember that good content trumps all. Google is especially putting an emphasis on good content, quality content that speaks directly to what users are looking for. With their Panda update, they're not looking for keyword optimized content. They're looking for content that is targeted and geo-targeted to what people are looking for. If you continually put that out, both on your website and on any other third-party website that you want your links on, then you're going to be fine. If you think it's wrong, it probably is. Now, I want you to think about every time you do this SEO practice, and whenever you're going and putting a link on your site, is this something that would get me in trouble? And if there's even a glimmer and a shade of doubt and that's going to get you in trouble, then it probably will, and I would stay away from that. The third thing is that Google will always find out. Always. You can't hide from Google. Even if you think that you're going to do great and for 6 months you have these great rankings and you get all this great traffic, they're going to find out, they're going to dock you, and your reputation is going to be very, very hard to get back. So that was it that I wanted to talk to you about the difference between white hat and black hat SEO. I think it's important to know that these things are continually changing. Google is updating their algorithms, you know, weekly, if not daily, and even though they don't publicize this information, it's still there, and it behooves you to make sure that you're staying on top of things and that you are continually making sure that what you're doing now is in ethical standards. The somewhat frustrating aspect to this is that it is always changing. You know, when websites were first coming out, when Google first had their algorithm, white hat SEO was keyword stuffing, right? Putting all of your keywords and making them the same color as your background, making sure that, you know, the higher your keyword density, the more your rankings are going to improve because they see more relevancy. We even did that at 352. You know, that was a practice that we did. Google got smart, they banned that, and now they've continually changed things. So the best advice that I can say, and to make sure that you're really making your SEO strategy as ethical as possible while still getting those competitive terms, ranking for them, is continually staying updated with your information. Now, we have a great blog at 352media.com/blog, and you can certainly tweet me any questions at Ann Arbor or at 352media Group. And thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you guys soon.